Okay, so we want to talk about how to help reduce some of the prompt dependency or some of the behaviors that we see that are kind of affecting independence and making it so that we're doing a lot of waiting to begin until there is a prompt, even a familiar task. So sitting with our papers, we know exactly that we are gluing the item onto the paper, but we're waiting for that direct prompt. And so it's impacting learning and also impacting independence. So we want to work on that. So the strategy that we really want to use and that we've talked about before is least to most prompts. So we want to give, because if we're not prompting at all, then right now we're seeing a lot of complete non-response. So standing in a shower in the water and nothing happening. And so we can't just hope that he begins to engage in that task because that's not happening, and we're not shaping any behavior by giving no prompt. But if we give that direct prompt of it's time to put soap on the sponge, then we are maintaining that prompt dependence. So what we want to do is least to most prompts. And the prompts that we're going to do least to most, we're going to start with a gesture. Then we're going to do indirect verbal. Then we're going to do direct verbal. And if we needed to, we'll do physical. I don't know that we're going to need to get to physical with each behavior. So a gesture would be pointing. So we're in the shower and we're standing. We're not doing anything and we know the next step. So we're going to point to the soap. And then we're going to count to 3. So in between each of the prompts, we're going to give 3 seconds, but it doesn't need to be timed on a timer or anything, just a general count to 3. If there's still nothing, then we're going to do an indirect verbal prompt. So we're going to say, what do you need to do? Or what's next with the soap? So we're not directly prompting. We're not saying, put soap on the sponge. We're not saying, put your shoes on. We're saying a verbal prompt, but it is not direct. So what's next with the soap? What do we need to do before we leave the house? Think things that are still not giving quite so much prompting. And we're going to count to 3 in our head, just a simple 1, 2, 3, but it's quiet in our head. And then if there's still nothing, then we're going to say, put soap on the sponge, or put your shoes on, or zip up your jacket, or whatever the task is. And then if we still see nothing, which generally is not where we are right now with independence, but if still nothing is happening, then we're going to move to a physical prompt where we're going to do hand over hand, put soap on the sponge, hand over hand, put the shoes on, hand over hand, help with the jacket, whatever it is. But that's the most. And we do want to be intentional with using that small prompt first. The only exception is safety. So if there was a fire drill, if there was movement through a parking lot and there was a car coming. At any time that safety is in danger, then we're not going to go through our least to most because it's dangerous. We're going to do the most intrusive controlling prompt immediately. We're going to move him out of the way of traffic. We're going to move him to where he needs to go in the fire drill. There's an inappropriate stranger approaching and you feel that there is danger. We're not going to go through our prompt hierarchy. We're going to move him to a safe place. But in general, we want to go through these so that the very least prompt is there to the most intrusive, no matter what. When the behavior that we are prompting occurs, even if it's hand over hand, we're going to give specific verbal praise for it. Great job putting soap on the sponge. Let's do what's next. So that we are praising what we want so that he is not confused. Is this what they wanted? Is that we want to be really clear, this was awesome. Okay?